What is unique key? We already discussed in the last video. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will give a link in the description below. Just go and watch. But today I am going to explain what is primary key and why it is used in SQL Server. But before starting, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, so what? Do subscribe now and also press the bell icon to get notification of my latest videos. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Look at here, the word key has been used and you all know what is key, why it is used. Key is a special material to close and open the lock for SQL, and every key is completely different from each other, right? It is absolutely unique, so only that key can identify that lock, not other key. I mean that key can close and open the lock which is made for, not other key possible to open and close the lock. Master key is that different thing. In the same DBMS also, primary key is used in one specific column so that the details of each person is completely different from the other person, so that it can be easy to recognize that person. I mean through that one column can identify each record from the database table. So let's know what exactly a primary key is in DBMS and what is their important role. What is actually in the primary key? Unique plus not null. These two things are there in the primary key. That is, in the primary key, one value is unique and the other is not null. If you define a primary key in any one column of the table, you can't enter the duplicate value in that column. Neither you can leave that column blank. So you will have to fill some value in it. Then the value will be stored in the table. Otherwise it is not. So whenever it comes to DBMS topic, the most important key that is recognized is the primary key. So there are many reasons why it is given so much important, but I will tell you for such reasons. Two I have already told you, right? Once more I will tell you, which will make your best revision. So first is duplicate values are not allowed to be in primary key. I mean that you can't enter duplicate value in the column in which you have defined primary key. However, I will explain here through the table. Here I took three columns: employee ID, employee name and mobile number. Okay. So right now there is no value in the table. It is completely empty, right? And here I use the employee ID column as a primary key constraint. So let's insert value in the first row of this table, like employee ID 1, employee name Dawa and mobile number this. Here you see there is no question of duplicate value in the first row, plus I have not left all the three columns blank here, and I have given character in place of character, number in place of number. So this value will be stored in the table. But in second row, if we insert employee ID value 1, which value is already inserted in the first row, C1, right? And employee name Rihan, and we give here in mobile number 9562487521. Now tell me this value will be inserted into table or not? No, it will not be stored in the table because employee ID 1 is already inserted in the column of employee ID. So we can't insert the same value again in the column of employee ID. I mean we can't enter duplicate value in the column of employee ID because here we have used the primary key in the column of employee ID. I mean in employee ID column we used a primary key already. But if we write here 2 instead of 1, then it will be inserted. This was the first feature of the primary key. Duplicate values are not allowed to be in primary key. And the second is a primary key column cannot accept null values. That is, you cannot leave the column blank. you have to insert some values in it, otherwise it will not accept. So let's understand this also through the table. So let's insert value in third row, but here I will not give any value in employee ID column. We'll leave it blank, okay? And employee name Ravinder and mobile number 6124876253. Now tell me, this value will be inserted into table or not? No. This value will not be stored in the table. Why? Because in the column of employee ID, no value has been given here. So it will not be stored in table, because whenever we define a primary key in column, then we do not empty that column. I mean that we can't leave that column blank. We have to give some value in it. Then this value will be stored in the table, otherwise it will not. If you want, you can leave the column of employee name and mobile number blank, no issue. Even you can give duplicate value and still this value will be stored in the table, because we have not set a primary key in these two columns. Okay. For example, here I insert a value in the fourth row, employee ID 4, and we leave the column of employee name blank, and in the column of mobile number we give duplicate mobile number, the same mobile number. See, this mobile number we will give here, okay, and still this value will be inserted. Here you see in the third row, in the column of employee ID we have left blank, but it is not being inserted. But in the fourth row also we have left blank in employee name, and also have given a duplicate value in mobile number, but still it is inserted. Why? Why is this happening? Because in the column of employee ID we have set the primary key here, and you know a primary key column cannot accept null values. So this was the second feature which is considered to be the most important of primary key in DBMS. And third is, we can use only one primary key in a table, not more than one. A table can have only one primary key, not more than one. So let's understand this also through the table. Here you see we have taken three columns here, employee ID, employee name and mobile number. So we add here one more column such as email ID. Here you see we have already set the primary key in the column of employee ID. If we set the primary key again here in the column of email ID, then this table will not be created. Why? Because we can use only one primary key in a table, not more than one. So this was the third feature of primary key. A table can have only one primary key. I will show you in practical all of this. And the fourth one, which is very important, foreign key refers to the primary key in another table. I mean, foreign key joins two or more tables together by taking reference of primary key. Why does the foreign key refer to the primary key only? Why not unique key? Because the value in the primary key are unique plus not. So that going forward, when we have to combine both the tables and get one from it, then it becomes easy. No problem, no complexity to access data from the database. So foreign key refers to the primary key. So let's understand this also through the table. Here you see we have taken two tables. One is employee table and the other is salary table. Look at here in the second table, which employee salary is this? Don't know. Why? Because here there is no relationship between the two tables. I mean, there is no such value to know that this is the salary of this employee. For this we have to create a relationship first between both the tables, and for that we need a foreign key. What will foreign key do here? It will create a relationship between these two tables. After the relationship is created, now we can give the value of employee ID here in the salary table. Now we can easily identify which salary is this. Look at here, employee ID 1. Employee ID 1 is Dawa. That means Dawa salary is 45,000, right? And this value is reference to the primary key. So ultimately we can say that foreign key refers to the primary key in another table. These are the 4 reasons why the primary key is considered to be the most important in DBMS. Now the question is, in which column should we use the primary key? If it is a school, college or university and you want to save the student details, then you can set the primary key on the student ID, roll number or registration number. If you have a company and many workers work and you want to save the details, then you can give a primary key on employee ID. And if you are an e-commerce company and you want to save the details of the customers, then you can put it on the customer ID. And if you sell the product, then you can set the primary key on the product ID. If there is a hospital and you want to save the details of the patient, then you can set the primary key on patient ID. There are many more. It depends on in which table, in which column you want value, unique plus not null. Accordingly, you have to set a primary key in any one column. This was a theoretically, so now let us show you practically how the query of primary key constraint is written in SQL Server. So let's open SQL Server. Click on New Query and type here create database and database name like employee. Select all and execute. Command completed successfully. So database is created. If you want to see the database is created or not, as you can see here on the left side, right click and refresh. See, the database named employee has been created here. Enter. Now use database. Database name is employee. Select all. As I click on execute here, this name of the database will show here. See, now we will create here table. Create table and table name. Table name I will write here employee underscore TBL. Now enter, bracket open and close, and now type here employee ID int. We set here primary key in this column, primary key, semicolon, employee name, varchar 50, semicolon, enter, mobile number, varchar 15. If I add one more column here and set the primary key in that column, then what will error? So let me show you now. Like email ID, varchar 50. I defined here primary key, and now select all and execute. As you can see here, error message show cannot add multiple primary key constraint to table employee underscore TBL, right? This means in employee table you cannot set multiple primary key. Why? Because we can use only one primary key per table, not more than one. This is the most important feature of primary key. A table can have only one primary key. Okay? So now I delete this column, remove semicolon from here, and now select all and execute. See, command completed successfully. That means table has been created, employee table. So now let's see the table. Select star from employee TBL. So select all and execute. See, all columns show here. This means table is created. Right now there is no value inserted into this table. It is fully blank. So let us first insert the value, these 3 columns. For that we'll have to write some query. Insert into table name employee TBL values bracket open and close, and type here employee ID 1 comma single quotation mark employee name like Dawa. As you can see here, I have given a single quotation mark in employee name and not in employee ID. Why? I have already uploaded on this topic what is varchar, just watch it, and comma and mobile number 8742156328, and also give here single quotation mark. And now select all and execute. See, one row affected. That means which value I have given here, this value has been inserted into employee table. Now let's see the table. Select all and execute. See, data has been inserted, right? And now I will show you here duplicate values are not allowed to be in primary key. So let's insert one more value, but this time we keep the same value here in employee ID 1. Nothing gonna change, okay? E-name Rihan and mobile number 95624875521. Now let's see what will be error. As you can see here, error message violation of primary key. Cannot insert duplicate key in employee table. I mean you can't enter duplicate value in employee table. Why? Because this value is 1 is already inserted in the table. So such an error is showing here. But if we change here like 2 in employee ID, now it is inserted in the table or not. Let's see. Select all and execute. One row affected, right? Select all and execute. See the value inserted into this table, right? If you want, you can give the same value again and again in employee name and mobile number, but you can't give same value in employee ID because duplicate values are not allowed to be in primary key. This is the most important feature of primary key. And now I will show you here that a primary key column cannot accept null values. I mean we can't leave that column blank in which we define the primary key. You know, in SQL database by default null value is stored if that column is left blank. So we will type here null. Here in the column of employee ID I will not give any value. I leave it blank, type null. And e-name Ravinder and mobile number 6124876253. Now let's execute this query. Select all and execute. Say this query is not executed. Error message employee table column does not allow null, right? Insert fails. Why? Because a primary key column cannot accept null values, so we can't leave the column blank, okay? But if I remove the null value from here into employee ID and type here employee ID 3, Let's execute. See, one row affected. This means this value has been inserted into employee table. As you can see here, employee ID 3 is inserted, right? One more important feature of primary key. Foreign key refers to the primary key in another table. I will show you this practically when foreign key topics will be taught, okay? Now you knew that how important is the role of primary key in DBMS. Hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching.